Welcome to SwiftGet. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how we can make Spotify integration into our native iOS app. And at the end of the tutorial, what we're expecting is we are having a native iOS app with the login button, and user can log into Spotify. So it's already the user have already entered the username and password. So after that, I will show agree. Okay, so when it comes, it is having the feature of the login button is disappearing and have a search music option. In this one, I have a search option as well as a default URI. So if suppose if I am clicking the default, it will go to the detail view controller and it will play some song into it. Okay, pause it and come back, and we can make some searches as well, like some songs. I'm entering some artist name, and it will get all the list from the artist. And at the end, the main thing is go to my playlist. It will go to your current users playlist and fetch the songs which is having in the Spotify, and it will play according to it. This is my Spotify playlist, and if there's options with the next, forward, you can even scroll into the mid as well. Okay, close, log out. This is what we're expecting at the end of the project. Alright, let's go into it. I'm closing this. Alright, for that I'm going to make a new Xcode project. File, new project. It's a single view application. I'm going to name it as something Spotify /demo. You can save wherever you like. I will save it in the desktop. It's created, and this is our bundle identifier and display name. You can choose whatever you like. And for the main thing is we have to go to our developer account. Actually, I have logged in. I will log out and show you. This is our developer.spotify.com dashboard. If you click this URL, you will enter in this page, and from here docs, you can see that it's for iOS quick start. I will enter that one. If you haven't registered with this developer account, just register in this Spotify developer account. I have already registered, so I will click that, and I will click here as login. So I have logged in. In this one, what we are going to make is create a new app. In this one, it will ask for the app name or hardware, whatever. So I will say it is Spotify some demo or something demo, and it's some description, whatever you can go. It's a demo app, like. Okay, so what you're building, it's a mobile app. Just click next. It's corporate S, corporate name. It's asking for corporate name. I will go something like and the name of the company and company URL. These all stuffs you can enter as per your wish. And at the end, it will ask for the App Store. It's not necessary actually. And when it will be publify your app, you can go whatever you like and click next after entering the stuffs. Okay, so this is my Spotify demo. It will create. This app is done. It is having a client ID as you can see here, and it will show a client secret ID as well. And so if I'm going to edit this, it is having the application name as Spotify demo. You can enter a website if you have. It is a redirect URI. It's very important. Actually, what I am giving is the name of the app as Spotify demo / return after login. I am entering this and add it, so it will appear in like this. And after that, bundle ID, it is asking for the app's bundle ID, so I have given the bundle ID as it is, bundle identifier, and copying this, and I paste it over here, and if I click add, it will come enter like this. And after this all, just save the settings. Okay, that's it. Now let's come back to our storyboard. So in this demo, we are going to make let's go to our main.storyboard, and for login for the Spotify we need to create a button. So I'm creating a button. Just drag it the middle, paste it. Let's make it more height, and let's customize the button. Let's say log in to Spotify. So it's much more bigger. The background color set it to be like green. The color of the text, I'm going to set it as white. Okay, let's set some constraints. 44. Okay, that's it. And into our view controller, we will make some outlet for this. I'm clicking this button and dragging it for an outlet. Let's say log button, and I'm going to create a action as well. So log in tapped. Okay, let's make more space enough for this. So our view controller, and this is our app delegate file. Okay, let's go. So in order to make our Spotify integration, we need to import some files, which I have described in my description. I have a link provided. If you download that link, you can find some sources for Spotify frameworks for Spotify audio playback, Spotify authentication, Spotify metadata. These all frameworks we need to import. Just clone or download so that you can get these 3 files. I have already done it, so I'm going to that file straight away. So these are the files. Spotify audio framework, I'm going to import it here. Make sure you have copy items if needed, checked, create groups, Spotify demo. Okay, finish it. And all the 3 files necessary: Spotify audio playback.framework, Spotify authentication.framework, and Spotify metadata.framework. All these checked. Okay, and then we will go to our Spotify demo, and suppose if I'm clicking in the build settings, we'll go to build phases. Inside this we can see linked library with binary with library. So I'm clicking that, check whether it is imported here or not. If it's not appearing into your project, just click over here the small button and just import these 3 files into your linked binary with libraries. Then I'm going to my build settings and info. inside that you can see that last one, URL types. So inside that, just click URL types with identifier and URL scheme. It is asking with identifier. As you can see, it is copy this one. This is a bundle ID. Bundle ID, remove that slash over here and click here as Spotify URL schemes. You just type your app name, Spotify, it's demo, that's a name for URL schemes, and enter this 3. Okay, then after that we need to create a file for bridge header. So just create new, open new file, and here it's a Swift file, sorry, header file, and you can name it just whatever you like. I'm going to name it as Spotify demo and create it. Okay, so what we are going to do here is this is our header file. So inside this I need to import all these meta frameworks. So if you're going to this download source, if I click the Spotify demo, I can see this Spotify demo bridge header.h file. We need to import these 3 files. Just copy it and enter it in your asset. That's it. Then we'll go to our in build settings and we will search for our bridge Objective-C bridge header file. So before that, I'm going to here in our header file and take the path you can see in the right side. I'm going to copy this path, and after that I'm going here, click, I'm going to paste it in my Objective-C bridging header as the path. You need to go make sure that you have in both, in the Spotify demo and both files. Okay, and precompiled bridge header, set it as no. We don't have any precompiled bridge header. Okay, that's it. That's all in our settings, and we will go back to our app Delegate. So we have done all with the Spotify frameworks, all these things. Just go to product and just try to build it to check all the frameworks have updated or not. Will succeed. Okay, so in this one, in app Delegate, what we are going to do is we need to write some files, programs into it. So var oats is equal to s p t oats. And in did finish launch with the option, we need to write some codes into it. That oats dot redirect URL is equal to URL, and have a string, and this is string file. This is what we need from our dashboard redirect URI. You need to copy this to redirect URI into this. Alright, and then going to type it as auth dot session user default key. Let it set to be having equal to current session. String don't have, this is a small string actually. Okay, then we need to write some functions for the Spotify application URL schemes. So func application, of course you can take it from your download source file, as I mentioned here. Here you can see in the libraries in app delegate source, it's a func application open URL, this annotation bool function. You can copy this as it is so that our tutorial time we can consume. That's the thing. Okay, I'm going to paste this over here. So that's all done in app delegate, and then we will go to our view controller, and then we need to write some codes for view controller. So let's say first import Safari services. Then I'm going to import AV Foundation as well. Okay, we need to set some delegate, that is SPT audio streaming playback delegate, and we need one more guy, SPT audio streaming delegate, audio streaming delegate is here. Okay, and before going we need to some var variables, like var auth is equal to SPT auth dot default instance, var session SPT session. We need to give here exclamation mark here as well, and var player SPT audio streaming controller. We need to put here question mark, because we don't to give this exclamation because it is optional and it may come as nil as well, so just make it question mark over here. And var login URL let's say URL, and last. Okay, that's it. Then we will go to, it'll make a little more space for this, and we will call, we have to make some function set up. This function need to call let redirect URL equal to some string. That's your URL, which need put your URL actually, your URL, redirect URL actually. That's actually the URL which you're getting in your Spotify. This is the one redirect URL, you need to bring it. So here I am copying this one, and let's go back to my storyboard. Inside the string I am putting my redirect URL. Okay, and then let client ID, next one is client ID is equal to, this is also some string. Inside that you need to put your client ID. So I have here my client ID as this one, 47 this. So I'm going to copy this inside. It is automatically generated when you save your developer account. This will appear into your Spotify dashboard. So copy that client ID, then comes auth dot redirect URL is optional actually. If you can omit it, but it's okay if you put it as well. So that's the string which is having the redirect URL. This auth is giving permission to redirect into your app. That's the concept behind this. Auth dot client ID equal to, actually this step you can avoid it if you don't want to mention, but the auth dot redirect is mandatory, you need to mention that one. Then auth dot requested scopes will be equal to spt auth streaming scope, then spt auth playlist read private scope, then comes spt auth playlist public scope, private scope, public scope, and the last one having spt auth playlist modify private scope, read private scope. Then one is modify or playlist modify private scope. Okay, that's it. And the last one is we need to create for the login URL will be equal to auth dot Spotify auth authentication URL. Okay, so inside this our view did load, we are calling this function setup URL. When the app is running, we need to initialize these all functions into our app. Then comes initialize some player. Let's say we need to initialize some player, so that func initialize player for that auth session spt session. Inside this, if it's actually I'm giving here as a self player, I'm not going to customize anything else, just giving introducing a self player, so that it will check this player is present or not. Self dot player equal to spt audio streaming controller dot share instance, then self dot player dot playback delegate equal to self, then self dot player dot delegate equal to self dot. Now then we will try player dot start with client ID auth dot client ID, then self dot player dot login. This will check the access token when the user is logged in. So access token, and the string what we're giving is authorization for access token, auth session dot access token. Then I'm going to call @OBJDC function. It's a function to update when the user is first logged in, update after first log in. This will check the user when is first logged in. So let's say let user default is equal to user default dot standard. Then if let session obj any object equal to user default dot object for key and is asking for the key for the session. So the Spotify session, as that's the key which you're going to use here as to say whether is the user is logged in or not, as any object then going to call let session data object is equal to session JS data, then let first time session equal to ns keyed unarchiver dot unarchive object with session data object as SPD session. Then self dot session will be equal to this first time session which we are going to call first time session. Then I'm going to initialize when the first time session is called. I'm going to initialize this function called initialize player, that spt session, and going to call session spt session, that's session actually. Then we have here the login button tapped, all these things we need to call. Okay, then when the login button is tapped, that is if UI application dot share dot open URL, that is actually login URL. And if auth dot can handle this auth dot redirect URL, so auth dot redirect URL, if it can authorize your direct URL, it can perform the function build to whatever, like something. Okay, that's it in our when the login button is tapped. You can place here completion error as well. And before that, when the function is called, actually when the user is logged in, you need to make some function. So initialize the player now. So func audio stream did logged in, did logged in. When the user is logged in for the first time, let's say print something like logged in. Okay, let's say some breakpoint, and we will check whether it's okay. We have here okay, Spotify null rate, small object C, and we have after func login, user default dot object for key as any object. So let's say user default obj any object is equal to user, this is the small u actually, user defaults dot object, and okay, then we will go to our view did load, and we need to write is ns notification center to initialize. So this is notification center dot default dot add observer. I'm going to add is the self dot selector, going to hash key, selector view controller dot I'm calling this objective function update after first login. Name I'm going to use as notification dot name as row value of string it's asking, so it's log in successful, and object set to be nil. Okay, we will run a project and see what's missing. Okay, okay, we will run. Okay, let's run and check what we have done yet. So I'll drop it and I will run it in the Xcode, and we will go through what we have done so far. Alright, it's building. Okay, this is my view controller with a login button to Spotify. So I'm just clicking to log in. So it will go to accessing the Safari and is asking for the username and password. So you can type your username and password. And okay, I'm logging in. So it will ask whether to agree with the Spotify access data. So I'm clicking here agree. This is the redirect URI which I have given. So when I click open, it will go back to my app itself, and now I have here a breakpoint. So it's checking and it's locked in, printed locked in actually. Okay, that's all we have done. I'm going to stop this. So what I'm going to do next is I need to play some background music, something self. So in order to initialize some music, I'm gonna write some program in auto streaming muted function. So that's actually, it's nothing. After the print, remove the breakpoint, and I'm going to write self dot player dot play Spotify. Sorry, self dot player. This player is actually this SPT audio controller which we have initialized at the beginning of the project. So play Spotify URI, just having access with all the stuff. Start with 0, position time interval with 0, and whatever control necessary we need to put that though. Okay, so that's it. I have here start with 0, and if it's error, print it's playing. And we need to, I have given here this Spotify button to visible at the beginning, but when we logged in we need to hide that login button. So since after this function, I'm going to put it here as Spotify button is hidden. Set it to say it's true. I'm going to hide that login button since after the user is logged in. So now let's run and check. So this is my login screen. I'm going here, logged in, agree. Okay, the button get
diamonds and gold, Mindy and bangles.
okay. The background music is playing right now. That's self dot player essentialize the player. So that's all in this part. And going to, that's all we have integrated Spotify into our native iOS app, and current user can log in and access with a self player, and we can initialize the player audio playing with SPT as well. So that's all in this part. If the viewers having suggestion with to come up with the next tutorial, that will be part 2. I will show you how we can search the files with SPT how we can call the default URL in a Spotification, and at the end we will call the current users playlist in our app, and we will access the playlist and play into our native iOS app. So that's all in this part. We will see you in the next session. Thanks for watching. Thanks. See you. Bye.